Welcome back to New Realities. I'm here with Gary Malkin in the last part of our interview about his passion to create and his love of music and his intensity of bringing feeling to people. So, Gary, what are you working on now?
I am working on a training program called Vibrational Intelligence, harnessing the power of music for a fulfilling and abundant life. And that's the working title. And what it is I have applied this genre since I stopped being exclusively a commercial composer. Although you filmmakers and thought leaders out there, if you want to score for your words, call me up at gary@wisdomoftheworld.com. But what I want to say is that I have learned by applying this modality to 5 or 6 different sectors, I've understood that there's a way to make our heart and soul wisdom be equally respected as much as the linear rational.
Mm.
And there are ways that if we don't do that, we're going to have more of the chaos and confusion and incoherence on the planet than we currently have. With Brother David Steindl Rast, I tracked him down, I recorded him, I set him to music, and then Louis Schwartzberg, the famous filmmaker, said, "Do you have anything that's not about death and dying?" And I said, "Yeah, I did this thing with Brother David. This was about, I don't know, 7 years ago." And he said, "Can I use it?" And he put it in his TED Talk. We're talking now, he created this thing called The Good Day or Gratitude, 40 million cumulative views. And I created the montage of spoken word and music. It was that blending of the music to Brother David's sincere words. You've seen the video.
Oh, I
Everybody's
think
seen
I've
it.
seen the video, right? Does it start with that young boy talking about?
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Uh-huh.
That is one of my favorite TED Talks.
When I watch TV, it's just some shows that are pretend, and when you explore, you get more imagination than you already had, and when you get more imagination, it makes you want to go deeper in, so you can get more and see beautiful things. Like the path. If it's a path, it could lead you to a beach or something, and it could be beautiful.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now, and the only appropriate response is gratefulness.
You notice how if he said that and we heard it without any music behind it, do you think that we would listen as carefully as we did just then?
Well, yeah, they say the best music is when you don't notice it. I was listening. I knew the music was there, but I don't know. I think the music, yeah, I don't know.
It creates a je ne sais quoi. It creates an energy of presence. Alan, I am so on fire
yeah.
with knowing that I came here for exactly what I'm doing.
That
And
is why you have so much energy, because you are in alignment with that flow. And I think, and I'll say this to you, when Gary, when you realize that everything you thought was in the way was to take you home to this truth that you have found, you'll you'll start to become one with that every minute of your life.
I'm experiencing more of that now than I ever have. My great comfort is that I know that I'm doing what I came here to do, and
Yes.
I'm on fire with that.
And that is really why we're here. I mean, relationships happen, all those things are part of what we've come here to do is the primary thing. All those other things, they're not distraction. They're great and they're exciting. But I think what we really come here to do is that what you're doing.
But I'm gonna
That's
differ.
okay.
So what I love about what's his name, Charles Eisenstein,
Yeah,
he gave a beautiful speech to the Pachamama community a few years ago. When he realized, he said, you know what? All those people that are working hard to get the environment done, and they're working hard to do it, and they're fighting this and they're fighting that. He said, but if you're the one that's taking care of your mother, and that's what you're doing, if you're the one that's bringing new children into the world and showing them who they can really be, and that love is the only thing that is real. If you're the one that's taking care of your mother because she took care of you when you were a baby, he said that contributes as much to the love in the field as anybody looking like they're in the limelight doing their purpose.
Absolutely. That I agree with that. Anything else we want to say about certain frequencies? I'd just like to hear a little bit of that because music is frequencies, but so are we. So can you just talk a little bit about that element?
Yeah. And what comes to mind is, the whole sound healing explosion that's happened over the last 10 years.
No.
Well, that there are now events all over America where sound healers have taken.
Oh yeah, with the crystal bowls. Yes, that I do know that. Yes.
Now, the reason that has proliferated at the degree it has is because there's incoherent frequencies, the likes of which we surround ourselves, the blaring, divisive, fear-based media, the traffic, the din of the television going on constantly, the lack of spaciousness, lack of presence. When you counter that on the other end of the spectrum, the purest, most profound expression of healing frequency is this sine wave of the bowls. And people have been, I walk into Grace Cathedral, the Sound Healing Orchestra. I've done some work with my friend, L'Oreal Starr, where we've done sound healing events. And people will lie down in a cathedral and fill the place, Grace Cathedral and all these cathedrals all over, because they inherently know that they've been bombarded with vibrational frequencies that create incoherence, that create divisiveness, that create fear, that create all kinds of levels of chaos, right? And they inherently are attracted to the great device of the frequencies of the pure tones that will literally vibrationally wash us clean. And so they stay there for an hour and a half. And the best compliment is that they could lie down, and an hour and a half later, they're literally, their whole vibrational frequency in their body, their organs, their bloodstream is phenomenally different. Because there's such purity to these crystal bowls that they're the exact opposite of the incoherence of, when you have a Tibetan bowl and it wasn't made well, there's there you can hear it in the rattle of it. The finest Tibetan bowls, the finest crystal bowls have this coherence producing effect that is instantly, that no matter who you are, if you lend your attention to it, it will actually create a transformative experience that is almost like an accelerated meditation, right? So it's that phrase that keeps on coming back. The frequency at which we vibrate is the frequency at which we create. And this also gets into the Power versus Force Dawson book, which is when we vibrate at the vibration of hatred or jealousy or envy or despair or hopelessness, those are frequencies that actually bring us to very low states of immune capacity, very low states of vibrating that are not helpful to our health, right? But when we actually generate the vibration of gratitude, when we generate the vibration of love, of the sense of peace, inner peace, these are vibrational frequencies, right? And remember, like the eye spectrum, the amount that humans can perceive in the spectrum of sound and in the spectrum of light is so small compared to what there is, right?
Right.
So the the self-importance of the human being to think that the frequencies are only what we experience is insane, you know? So this is what a lot of the health modalities that are shared in Thrive get into, which it's all frequency based.
Right.
But the
And you
network-
are sort of a creator of frequency specific combination. Music is a certain combination of frequencies to move the listener to a certain vibration. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
and
But
that's
I mean, you know, like if you play just a major chord,
yeah.
that so music is sculpted frequencies to elicit an emotional response. And if it's something that's like just the minor major phenomenon, the
Yeah.
moment we hear a minor chord, it brings us closer to the areas of sadness, of loss, right?
Oh.
So these are sculpted frequencies at a very simplistic level to describe that the true artisans of music understand how to sculpt frequencies in a way that delivers a response.
But it's also encoded into us. You didn't have to. I mean, yeah, you told about minor chords immediately because we're human, because we're hardwired for frequencies and emotion and feeling. A trigger those.
Right.
deep-
So what is this trigger?
Like sort of chaos, confusion.
Yeah. Yeah. And half my living was from doing the music for a TV show for 15 years called Unsolved Mysteries, which is experiencing a heyday, a resurgence on Netflix right now. And it was all based on scaring the shit out of people, right?
Right. No, but it's just so interesting. I with that little exercise you did with me is that we are hardwired for resonance, for
That's right.
audio resonance, for those. No one has to tell us that. I mean,
Right,
we just
right.
if we were allowed to feel like which you did help me, we would know. We would drop into who we are as music vibratory beings. Really.
Well, and this tracks to the Greater Good Science Center at Cal Berkeley. Dacher Keltner's work is extraordinary, Born to Be Good, when he discovered that we are evolutionarily wired to do good and
I
that
think
we
so.
actually survive longer. We are more thrive at a higher level when we're actually thinking about the whole and doing our best to make the whole better, right?
Right.
It's extraordinary work what Dacher has done. Anyway,
Yes.
I just so love this conversation, Alan, and I love you're such a pioneer and you're such a beautiful elicitor of information that makes the world a better place.
Anything else we want to say about Thrive? It's a beautiful film, and Gary is the musical composer.
That
And
that the soundtrack for Thrive 1 is now available on my website. And the soundtrack for Thrive 2 will be available in a few months. And that way you can experience the music separate from the words. Because when you see Thrive On, go to thriveon.com
right.
and pay the streaming rights for the permanent streaming rights for $25. And I recommend it highly. Your job is not to listen to my music. Your job is to actually allow the music to support you in absorbing the emotional, intellectual, and spiritual intent of the words.
Great.
So that's basically the job. Right?
And so your website again, Gary, is what?
So the company is called Wisdom of the World Wellness. And I co-created it with Dr. Clint Rogers, who you definitely want to meet. He and want to interview. He has an amazing book called Ancient Secrets of an Eastern Master. He and I have co-created this website together, and the URL is wisdomoftheworld.com.
Great. I've been talking to Gary Malkin, an old friend, a good friend, someone who allows you to just open up. There's something in just the way you express just allowed me to feel more. So thank you. This really hasn't been an interview. It's been a therapy session, Gary.
Thanks, Al. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my love, my passion, and my commitment. And I really thank you for the opportunity. Thanks so much.
This is Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. Stay tuned for more shows on all sorts of evolutionary topics. Thanks.